Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up for our State of the School. Thank you for showing up online, those of you that are at home, including my wife, because only the Hodges are brave enough to bring all their children. Since this is a State of the School, I'm going to designate this side as the stand and clap side every time we say something that is agreeable. This side is the sit and scowl side. And then you up front here are the Supreme Court, and all y'all have to do is stay awake. Let me go ahead and open us in prayer, and then just as an overview of the evening, Mr. Lockyer will address y'all for a few minutes, and then I'll have a few remarks to make in the middle, and then Mr. Lockyer will close us out. So let's go ahead and open in prayer. Righteous Lord, thank you for the opportunity to come here to this school that you have ordained for us to be a part of. Thank you for the opportunities that you have blessed us with, the new families that you have brought, the returning families that you have remained steadfast in bringing us. We ask, Lord, that you will give us your wisdom as parents and as members of the Annapolis body to guide and direct the ways of this school so that your name may be brought honor and glory. In your name we ask, amen. Mr. Lockyer?
I'd also like to thank everyone for taking a little bit of their time this evening, and we know that we've got a lot of people watching too online, just couldn't quite make it here. So it is a blessing to be starting this school year. A lot of people ask how it's going. It's kind of a loaded question. Overall, I would say it's going pretty well. This is an opportunity for us to share about the school, where we're at, and a little bit of looking ahead as far as where we're going as a school. But I'd first like to just kind of step back and talk a little bit about the why we do what we do. I try to stay as current as I can on education and some of the trends and things like that. And a couple of things caught my eye. One was from the University of Michigan, that they have done a study on what people believe as far as evolution goes. And what they found is that recently, and this maybe doesn't come as any surprise to anyone, but now the balance has shifted as far as more Americans believe in the fact that we descended from animals than at any other point in time in our history. Another one caught my eye. One of the most prestigious universities in our land, Harvard, named an atheist as their chaplain, who wrote a book, Good Without God. And not that this should be any surprise to anyone, but it just has really hit home recently as far as when we have systematically and fundamentally taken God out of who we are in the fabric of our society, particularly with education, that has left this void and this vacuum, and what has been filling it are this increasingly secular ideas and things, and now it's just becoming very, very obvious. But we might think, well, we're in Texas, that's Michigan, that's New England. And speaking with families here in this Coastal Bend area, imagine after the first week of kindergarten, your son or daughter coming home with a book about family, and in there is about a same-sex couple. Or having a teacher ask students what their preferred pronoun would be and if they want the teacher to use that in front of their parents. It is families coming here talking about fights and school safety. These are things happening here locally as, again, these are kind of natural consequences of systematically removing God out of the education system. I tell my teachers this, that the war for the hearts is not being fought in Austin or Washington, D.C. The front lines are in the homes and the schools. That the teachers are on the front lines. They're in the trenches of this cultural warfare. There's no way that you can send someone to an institution 5 days out of the week, 7 to 8 hours a day, 180 days out of the year, year after year, and something not happening to them. So the choices that you make and the sacrifices that you make for your children, for education, really have a deep, eternal impact on them. And so we're extremely grateful for that, because I think you know and I know, but I think it's becoming increasingly clear the importance of the education, where they go to school, who teaches them, and the environment that they're in. These are critically important to the lives of the students. So as we think about, well, we have a lot of choices. Why a classical Christian school? Well, ACCS did a survey a few years back in 2018, and it with Cardis, an independent education research group, in collaboration with Notre Dame's sociology department, and it looked at different alumni between the ages of 24 and 42 years old. They looked at public school, secular private, Catholic, evangelical Christian, religious homeschool, and ACCS, or classical Christian schools, on topics like choices, preparation, attitudes, values, opinions, and practices. And the research was somewhat surprising as far as the distinction of alumni from ACCS, classical Christian schools, compared to every other one of those subgroups. And this is just a sampling up on this slide. It seems to confirm what really history has repeatedly demonstrated, that a classical Christian education can influence the course of a home, a community, and even a nation. It measured 7 life outcomes: influencers, their outlook on life, their independent thinking, conservative beliefs, Christian life, Christian practices in college and career. And what the research came out, and there's a lot of specific, and if you're interested, it's called the Good Soils Research Project. In a nutshell, students that graduate from ACCS schools, classical Christian schools, they pray more, they volunteer more, they stay married more, and it once again proved from Jeremiah 6:16, "Thus says the Lord, stand in the way and see, ask for the old paths, where the good way is, and walk in it. Then you will find rest for your souls." And it goes on later, but they said, "We will not walk in it." The old paths are what we're trying to walk in. Those are the good paths. Those are the well-worn paths that we are walking together as faculty and as families. So I'd like to talk a little bit about not just ACCS, but us, ACA. Cornelius Van Til said, "Teachers labor in the dawn of everlasting results," and it's something that I've talked to from the beginning of this school year to the teachers here. We're laboring, the dawn of everlasting results. We're laboring here, what we do in a day in and day out basis, how we fill our ledger on a Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Thursday has everlasting results. So we take everything that we do seriously, intentionally. We want to make sure that what we're doing is that when we're planting the seeds, that we will be reaping a good harvest down the road. We summarize that in the 2 words, wisdom and virtue. We want to pursue excellence in both. So as we think about the school, what is the focus? What are the things that we're really driven by? Well, first and foremost, our mission and pursuing that in everything we do. But I would say even more at a more specific level, we're looking to be a better steward of the facilities that God's given us. God has granted us a beautiful campus. We have inherited some buildings that we love the architecture. They do show their age, and we want to be good stewards of them. We also have a new facility, and we want to be a great steward of that. The second thing is investment in our staff through professional development. As I mentioned, they're the ones in the trenches, and the investment for me as a leader is in them and making sure that they are pursuing excellence in the things that they're doing. And as a staff, we're growing, we're getting better at what we're doing, becoming more professional in the things that we're being asked to do. The third thing is excellence in delivering instruction and curriculum. We not only want great teachers who are growing professionally, but we want to be better at our craft, better at doing what we do with the instructional delivery and the practices and strategies. Our focus this year has been on math, and we have been working on ways, particularly at the 7th through 12th grade, of how to shore that up. We felt like that's an area that we could focus on and needed some work on, and so we are really addressing that area. It has been reading the past 2 years in the grammar, and so every year we evaluate where we're at using the student data that we have and investing time to continue to improve. We want to continuously have an attitude of improvement and focusing on excellence. The third thing is impacting students to be virtuous through their educational experience. It's not just book learning, it's not just cracking kids open, their heads open and dumping stuff in, but it's everything about the school. That experience means something to them. We wanted to make sure that it's a virtuous experience. It's fine-tuning them to the point of excellence. So things like house, chapel, morning time, athletics, extracurricular things like theater, music. Everything that we do to the edges of our campus are done in a way that's intentional and on purpose. So as we think about what we've done, we have upgraded our facilities, things like flooring. We've got working on the roof here, things that we have that we want to, again, be good stewards of the facilities that we have. We've hired new teachers. We've hired new staff, particularly staff with specific skill sets to work on some projects. We've been stretched pretty thin as far as staffing goes, and now we're at the ability to start filling in those gaps with some very experienced and skilled people to help continue grow and build our facilities and our programs. As we look ahead, and what keeps the wheels turning for us as a school is high levels of retention. And this was the beautiful thing that happened for us this year, is that there was a strong commitment of families re-enrolling and investing and committing to the school. That was a beautiful, wonderful blessing, and we're looking to continue to do that as we continue to get better delivering at what we've been wanting to do and what we've been asked to do, and you guys commit to that and continue in that partnership with us. It continues to grow and develop our school. This partnership, as we commit to one another, really gets the wheels turning as far as a school. We'd love to break the 90% retention mark. We've never done that as a school. We were real close this year at 89%. That would be a wonderful thing. We're also looking at expanding our grammar school. We have started expanding to 2 sections with several grades next year. Again, with high levels of retention, we're looking to break every K through 6 into 2 sections. We have a point where we're at waiting lists, school classes are at capacity. Some classes we've had to keep at one section and they're larger than what we'd like. We're making it work and through aids and support, but we'd really like to have that student to teacher ratio a little bit more manageable. And so we're already making plans for that with facilities and looking to start hiring as soon as we get into early spring. We also want to continue to upgrade our facilities and look at areas that we can continue to improve in. We started with the flooring and grammar on one side. We're going to continue that. We've upgraded our security systems. All those things are as we slowly start addressing those things and improving how we deliver on things as far as facility goes. We also want to start servicing our debt in a really intentional way. And the second thing with that is to fully fund our financial aid program. Both of those things would be wonderful blessings for us as a school, and would strengthen us financially. Another thing is connecting with our alumni. With a lot of things happening at school, we've had a lot of focus with things here and now with our students on campus. We want to start expanding our reach to the alumni. We believe that we have incredible alumni who are doing amazing things for the Lord. We'd like to bring them back on campus and reconnect with them. And so we're looking to find ways to do that in the next couple years. Also, starting next year, we'll be hiring another school administrator. It's a lot of work, so it'd be nice to have a little help. I'd like to finish my part by reading a portion of a quote by Horace Bushnell about school. And he puts it really eloquently, much better than I could, as far as school and the essence of school and how education really works. He said, "The spirit of the school is in the members of the children by nurture, not by teaching, not by any attempt to communicate the same, but because it is the air the children breathe. Understand that it is the social spirit, the organic life of the academy, the silent power of the domestic godliness, working as it does unconsciously and with sovereign effect. This it is which forms your students to God." There's an organic nature to education. It becomes the air you breathe, the atmosphere that you're in. All of those things speak to the soul and form the soul. And so when the air is clean and the aroma comes from the Word of God, it speaks into the souls of children and grows them up to be men and women who will be warriors for the Lord. And that is our goal. That's our mission each and every day in the things that we do. At this point, I'll turn it over to our school board president, Rob George.
Hector, is the slide with our young student on there with the room to grow language available? Thank you so much. Okay, so what we know as a school board and as an administration, a virtuous school, a Christ-following school is a very attractive place to be. So Travis addressed how we got there and how we are focusing on remaining there. And I get to tell you kind of the proof is in the pudding. So about a year ago, the administration and the board started discussing a plan, a grand initiative. We had about 225 students in the school at that time. And we came up with the Room to Grow initiative, which is designed to increase our enrollment to around 300 students with the necessary resources to fully educate those students, whether it needs to be additional faculty or additional physical facilities, et cetera. And we had a very lofty goal of accomplishing 300 students and the money to support them within 3 years. So if Hector can advance to the next slide, I'll tell you where we stand right now. Right now, we are at 292 students out of the 300 in our 3-year goal. Our 3-year goal started, the Room to Grow initiative kicked off last January. So in less than a year, the Lord has brought us an extra approximately 70 students. And we look forward, as Travis expressed, we look forward to that growing even more in the near future. Our retention rate was approximately 90%, as Travis mentioned. We have a wait list in 3rd and 5th grade. We are almost at capacity in kinder, 1st, 4th, and 9th grade. And to put that in a little bit of perspective, 8th to 9th grade traditionally is one of the main areas where we lose students. There's a lot of attractive things, many of which are free, outside of these walls that families are drawn to. The fact that our faculty has worked so hard to come alongside our students to make them and their parents want to stay here for 9th grade through 12th grade to finish out the capstone of our classical Christian education is a giant testimony, not just to the faculty's efforts, but to the administration's leadership. What this growth in our student body has done for us is it's pushed us to an almost $3 million budget for the first time in our school's history. And just to give you an idea of where that money goes, these are the 2 big categories that it goes to. Payroll plus benefits is around $2 million. And then as you can see, our financial aid, which ultimately at the moment is tuition discounts, is about $450,000 of our budget. So we try as an administrative team and as your board to make this education as accessible as possible. One of the ways that you can help us achieve those goals to bring more families onto our campus is by donating to the Room to Grow initiative, which you can do through our Support ACA tab at AnnapolisChristianAcademy.com. We are very, very excited to see where the Lord is going to take this initiative in the next couple of years as we approach that 3-year goal. We fully anticipate to be beyond 300 students when we start our new school year next year. What that means for you as current families, our re-enrollment period kicks off in early January 2022. You'll start hearing about it in November around Thanksgiving time probably. We make the re-enrollment period exclusive to existing families before we allow new families to enroll. So start thinking and praying about keeping your kids here at Annapolis so that when re-enrollment starts in January, you can jump on the spots. Because even though we're going to be opening multiple sections in our grammar school, we expect those to fill super fast. We don't believe yet as a board that we have seen the full effect of what's happening in public schools driving families here to Annapolis. We fully anticipate more opportunities for us to provide our educational program to more families here in the very near future. Let me go ahead and introduce our board members also. So I'll start with myself. I'm Rob George. I'm the president. As Travis mentioned, I'm married to Jan, and we have our children, 3 of them, in the grammar school here at Annapolis. Kimberly DeVisser, would you please stand, Kimberly? Thank you. Kimberly DeVisser is our vice president. She's married to Jim. Her children are also in the grammar school. I'm a lawyer. Kimberly is a development and fundraising officer. Lane Pepper is our treasurer. Many of y'all have met his wife, Paula. They have children in grammar and solar. And Lane is the chief risk officer at Texas Farm Credit Bank. Luis Cabrera, please stand, Luis. He is our secretary of the board. He is married to Alejandra, and they have students in grammar and solar. And Luis is the head of human resources at Voestalpine. And then unable to attend tonight is Steve Eichhorst. He's married to Deb. He is a real estate development and construction manager, and they have a child in solar. So as you see us around campus, one of the things you just heard me repeat is where our kids are in school. All of us have children in the school. The board, in fact, is actually, by our bylaws, limited to only those that have either children or grandchildren in the school. So as perhaps unlike what happens in Austin and Washington, when we make policies here, we live under those same policies too. Feel free to stop any of us on campus to ask questions. We'll answer those questions with love and grace where we can, and we will explain why we can't if we can't. The board does a lot of things that have to do with individual families, so a lot of what we do is really private information, but our main goal is to be a strategic board that supports the administrative team here at the school. So most of what we do is set longer-term policy, set longer-term strategic goals, and then bring our individual talents and treasures to make those goals be attainable. Hector, if we can go to the next slide, please. The board itself is made up of a handful of committees. I've listed them up here for you. I'm not going to go through each of them. I think they're relatively self-explanatory. 2 that I will address, the Committee on Trustees and the Bridge Program, those are almost entirely committees made up of me for various reasons, and if y'all want to ask me afterwards, I'm happy to explain. But the committees that are underlined have open positions right now. And I didn't tell Kimberly that the Development Committee does, but the Development Committee is one of the most crucial committees on campus because not only does Kimberly need help with the Room to Grow campaign that is more of a board initiative, but those that volunteer to be in the Development Committee also help Ann Thurwalker with our events and our other opportunities that she has planned throughout the school year for engagement. So that committee needs a lot of volunteers. It's a great way to get involved in what the board does and in the leadership roles in the school. It is often a training ground, if you will, for board membership later. So y'all can see Kimberly if you want to join the Development Committee. The other underlying committees, you can come see me if you want to join them. The Committee on Trustees basically is the committee that designs training for the board members. You'll get a pretty heavy dose of what classical methodology is and some pretty nerdy stuff if you want to come join that one. I'm more than happy to have you. But those are opportunities to get involved with what the board does because most of our work is really done through our committees. We'd love to have you join them. Please come see those of us who are board chairs, or committee chairs rather. The committees that are not underlined are full at the moment. Throughout the course of the year or multiple years into the future, they will have opportunities as well. But those committees right now are currently full. Next slide, please, Hector. Okay, so one of the things that the board does is set policies for the school. I mentioned that a moment ago, and one of the main policies that we set for the school, at least that has had recent impact on everybody, is our health policies. First, let me say thank you to those of you who reached out to Travis during the recent COVID quarantines that we had at school. Your suggestions and input were filtered to the board so that when we were reevaluating our COVID policies, which we do on a regular basis, those your input made it to the board. We heard what you had to say. We're grateful for the input. Please don't ever hesitate if you want to suggest something to the board to send it through Travis. Certainly, you can grab me on campus when I'm up here, but the main way to communicate your thoughts to the board is through Travis. These are the goals. I'm not going to read them all to you, but these are the kind of marching order goals that we have as we set policies. I do want to highlight 2 of them. We believe at Annapolis that in-person learning is the most critical way that we can deploy our educational program to our students. So while we want parents to make their own healthcare decisions and their own schooling decisions for their students, we encourage everybody to have their kids on campus. We will respect and encourage kids whose parents want them to wear masks on campus. Please still send them to campus. Your teachers will help the kids maintain their mask on campus. If you need to stay home for virtual learning, we made the investment last year to make that possible. We will respect that decision. Your fellow classmates and Annapolis family members will also respect that decision. But we really do believe that what we deliver here at Annapolis is best delivered in person. And we hope that as the school year moves forward, as more and more information comes out about COVID and its effect on students in particular and its effect on teachers gets known, that more of us will be on campus together for learning here at Annapolis. And our overarching goal with all of our healthcare policies here at school is to extend grace to those families who choose differently than we do. We want to make sure that everybody is welcome, that everybody's decisions are respected. We certainly all come from different perspectives as we think about not just COVID, but the flu and MMR and all the other things that kids get. You know, basically, as we all recognize, schools can kind of be bastions of germs. That might not be politically correct for me to say from the front of the stage here, but we want to make sure that this is a safe place for kids to come study and learn, because healthy students make great students, and we know that we can develop their minds and their hearts and their character, and we do that really well, especially when they're healthy on campus. So what we ask of our families, screen your kids at home. If they're healthy, send them to school, if that's what you decide you want to do. But please also be very careful that we're not sending sick kids to school as well, and those fingers are pointing back at me just as much as they are anywhere else in the audience. If we can go to the next slide, Hector, please, sir. One of the ways that we steward these amazing facilities that we have here at Annapolis is by renting our facilities to other tenants. I've listed up for you on the slide several of our long-term tenants, and you'll see that they range from churches to sporting organizations. The gym is a very hot rental property for us. We enjoy the opportunity to extend the gymnasium, our cafe, the chapel, our theater building back here behind me. Those are great places that we have available at times when our students are not on campus for other organizations to come and pay us for the opportunity to use them. I'm also super excited to announce a handful of new tenants that we have. BT Church is coming into the theater building. They signed their lease with us yesterday. If y'all have any exposure in the Valley, BT Church is based in McAllen. We're actually going to be their 4th campus. We're really excited that they chose to come to Annapolis because that's a pretty rapidly growing church. We're excited to have them here. Community Bible Church Corpus Christi will be meeting and has already started meeting here in our chapel. They're actually going through a rebranding, so I don't know what their new name is going to be, but they've already been on campus. We're thrilled to have them here. They're also a growing church. They came from the Emerald Hotel downtown, where they were meeting in a tiny little meeting room, then kind of got pushed out as the endless summer occurred last year, and they needed a new place to land, so they came to see us. And then in the building that we generally refer to as the Odyssey building, it's over here between the gym and the Grammar building. We call it the Odyssey building because it used to have a preschool in there named Odyssey. We have a new tenant in there called the Choice Living Community. Choice Living provides work training and social services training to young adults that have disabilities that have otherwise aged out of what the public schools can offer. So they were brought to us by one of our main benefactors at Annapolis, who also committed to Choice Living to do a significant remodel of the Odyssey building to bring it up to current date and current codes, which has been fantastic. It's a building that we hope to use multiple years into the future for our own expansion as we continue to see growth here at Annapolis. In the meantime, Choice Living will be in there. You probably won't see a lot of those folks because they're going to be pretty much staying inside their building or leaving campus for the services that they provide. They've also graciously agreed to have their hours differ from ours so that, unlike with Odyssey in the past, we shouldn't have any traffic jams out there in front of that we don't create ourselves as Annapolis, but we shouldn't have any traffic jams out there created by the Choice Living folks. So when you see all of these various people here, if you're up here on the weekend, you see folks that you don't recognize over in the gym, or you see people meeting in our buildings here, make sure you give them a warm Annapolis welcome. We're excited to have them. It's a huge blessing that the Lord brought us these major facilities that we can then in turn use as part of our community outreach to those around us. And speaking of our drop-off and pickup situation, Mr. Lockyer is going to update y'all on some new plans for how we intend to do drop-off in our super exciting Audubon Expressway over here outside of the building. Thank you all so much for being here.
Well, we've been contemplating some changes to it. We've had some feedback from families. We appreciate just the different ideas and the feedback. And so this obviously is, when you make a kind of a major change like this, we want to make sure that we do it right and announce it, make sure everyone's understanding kind of the big why behind it. We know that there's been an issue when cars come around. We have that big outdoor, it's fenced-in unit out there, and there's a blind spot there right where all of our kids are crossing into the playground. We've been trying to do different ways to try to mitigate that, but we realize kids and cars and playing Frogger is not really a great strategy. So it's time to do a major kind of reversals for what we're doing for the obvious reason for safety and just line of sight. Being able to come down along the chapel and then turning, you'll be able to, obviously see any potential issues with kids trying to cross there. So you can see on there that this will still be a one-way, but we're just reversing the flow of traffic. The parking and the traffic in front of the gym will still be two-way traffic, so that's the blue. That'll still be two-way, so there's going to be a point, and that's going to be kind of the little awkward spot, and we'll use a lot of signage, but where it shifts from two-way traffic to one-way. So there'll be kind of like a do not enter signs and things like that right in front of what will be the Choice Living building that they're renting. So you can see that we're changing course with everything. We hope to do that probably at a natural time, probably looking at like fall break once the signage comes in and we can put everything in and secure it, making that kind of big switch on a natural break. But we want to do it sooner than later just because of just the safety issues. We have more kids, more cars, and we want to make sure that we're keeping kids safe. So be on the lookout for that big change. I think Ryan talked about water, or traffic's like water, just kind of flows. So we're going to try to dam up the water and reverse it. So hopefully everyone understands that, and we'll be able to do that. And like I said, we'll make a very big announcement with it, but it should be coming soon once we get everything in place. I'd just like to end the evening just again with a huge thank you. I have a good friend of mine is the head of school at an Episcopal school in Amarillo, Texas. And he had a big meeting like this that was kind of a town hall kind of meeting, and there was a lot of kind of exchanges and things like that. And he wrote about how his school had what he called cultural norms or school norms, that there was an attitude of respect and love and showing dignity to one another. And it really, as I just sat back and thought about that as far as our school and just the ups and downs of just all of this craziness and the things that we've gone through, not just with health, but just the school and leadership and transitions and things like that, that I just am just a deep appreciation for the school norms, the cultural norms of us as a campus, as a family. The one word that keeps coming up over and over again to me with families as they come and visit, and even families as they've been on campus, is a sense of community that we have. Embedded in that word is the word unity. And I just sense there's just a deep sense of unity, even in the differences of beliefs and opinions. And we're trying to do our best, and sometimes we burn the bread, and sometimes we get it out too early, and we kind of fumble things too. But there's just a sense of understanding as we keep getting better, and we keep working on things, and you guys keep deepening your commitment and love and sacrifice for us. Is just we're deepening the sense of community, and the things that we're doing are really remarkable as I just reflect back just even a year ago, 2 years ago, and just the growth that I see in the students and the staff has just been phenomenal. Like God is really moving in our campus and in our families here. So I just want to be just express my gratitude to everyone, and just their understanding of just all the different things that are going on. But I love the sense of community and walking on campus and just seeing the love, seeing the excitement that kids have for one another, and just the beauty of the things that are happening on campus is just really a testament to the Lord and testament to the families that are investing in this school. So again, thank you. Let me close this evening in a word of prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the spirit that you do give each and every one of us through faith, that by the faith in the word that we can come together as a community and that we can enjoy the blessings and benefits of an education that is centered on your word. Lord, just pray for health, safety, and protection for us as a campus, for the students, staff, and families, for those that are touched by illnesses, that you would continue to work in their bodies, give them strength and energy. We just pray for this school, for the school year. We know that you have great things in store for us if we're faithful and true to the things that you've called us to. As a school, let us be diligent to the mission that you have laid in front of us. And as families, that we would be committed to the things that you've called us to. And Lord, in doing so, we would raise up the next generation of warriors that would take forth homes, communities, and even this nation for you. We're thankful for the things that you are doing, you have done, and you will be doing. Just bless this day, bless this week, bless this school year, and bless the school. We ask all this in your name. Amen. Thank you again for your time.